Winter is here, and with it the cold and ice. Coming up next on the Green Update, I'll give you some tips on how to avoid slipping and sliding without using salt.
And now, Newswatch at 5:30 continues.
Is it cold enough out here today for you, Kathy?
Oh yes, a little too cold.
And there's certainly lots of ice and snow to move around as well, isn't there?
Yeah, it's the time of year.
Exactly. Now, when it comes to moving ice and snow and having it in front of us under our feet, we don't just have to use salt to get rid of it, do we?
Salt can be a real problem environmentally, especially for plants. It really interferes plants' ability to take up water, so it puts them in drought conditions. So having using a lot of salt during the winter, especially around your lawn and your garden, is not really a great thing.
Okay.
On the other hand, we don't want people to fall and hurt themselves either. So there are a few options to choose from.
And what are some of those options that we can look for other than salt?
Well, two things. First of all, do you need to melt the ice? Like, that's the first consideration. That's traditionally what salt has been used for, as an ice melter, and it can be very effective at that, and it's very inexpensive. There are a few products on the market now that are a little more friendly to the environment that would still melt the ice. And rather than the table salt, do you remember your chemistry?
Oh, yes.
Which is sodium chloride. There's magnesium chloride, there's potassium chloride, and if you read the labels on the bags, you can see those are a little bit friendlier than salt. They may be a little more expensive. There are other ice melters available also that are friendlier than table salt. Just look on the labels and see what you can find. But if you don't need to melt the ice, if just traction is good enough, then you can certainly use good old sand.
Yes.
Maybe not right in front of your front door. You don't want to truck it through the house, but a little bit of sand is not too bad at all. There are also some newer products on the market now that maybe need a little more time to see their long-term impacts, but they're definitely worth thinking about. Things like volcanic minerals.
Like
and
what
actually,
we have right
we
here?
have. This is one of them that's been out on the market just recently, called Eco Traction.
Now, does that actually melt the ice?
Doesn't melt. No, it's just strictly sort of a gritty material. It's made from volcanic rock, and that's friendlier than using salt. One thing to consider, though, is how far do they have to ship this from?
Exactly. That's true.
So there's more things to consider, really, in terms of long-term environmental impact. But really, you might want to think about, there's a number of these different kinds of contraptions available now that you can strap onto your shoes that basically have metal bits that will bite into the ice and give you really good traction.
Exactly.
And this way, this doesn't leave any kind of a product behind. And so you can still go out and keep walking and keep active in the winter. You don't need to worry about slipping. And there's other models that are small enough you can just stuff them into your pocket and then just easily put them onto your shoes.
Exactly. And I'm holding actually another tool we have right here, the shovel.
Absolutely. If you can get out there as soon as possible after snowfall and shovel up the snow before it has a chance to turn into ice, then that really limits the amount of any kind of materials that you need to use, and it keeps you in good shape.
Exactly. There's always a positive aspect to some shoveling, I'm sure. Well, Kathy, it was great to talk to you today, and I think maybe it's a bit chilly. My ears are starting to go numb. Maybe we should get out some shoveling.
All right. Sounds good to me.
All right. And we'll see you again next week on The Green Update.
The Green Update is brought to you by Peterborough Transit. Come on board with our on-time services. If you have any questions about today's episode of The Green Update, call Peterborough Green Up at 745-3238.